Do you feel like you're living the life others expect of you, instead of the life your soul truly desires? That tightness in your chest when you think about following your own path, but the fear of the unknown paralyzes you. In this video, you're going to discover why the fear of the unknown is actually an invitation to your greatness, and how to take the first step even without having all the answers. I understand this struggle between safety and authenticity, and I'm going to show you practical tools that Louise Hay used to transform fear into courage. Stay for a special moment where you can join this community of courageous hearts who are rewriting their stories. You'll leave here with clarity, powerful affirmations, and a mirror exercise that will change your relationship with the unknown. Take a deep breath with me. How about we rewrite your life script together? Let's begin now with love and courage. The disguised gift. Have you ever noticed how fear shows up exactly when you're about to do something significant? It's not a coincidence. The fear of the unknown isn't a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's actually a powerful indicator that you're approaching something that truly matters to your soul. Louise Hay taught us that fear is just an emotion, not a fact, and that behind it exists an opportunity for growth waiting to be embraced. When you feel that flutter in your stomach facing a new possibility, your being is recognizing that something transformative is coming. It's as if your soul is saying, "Pay attention, this matters to you." What happens is that we've been conditioned to interpret fear as a sign of danger, when in reality it can simply be the emotion that accompanies expansion. Think of Sarah, a 42-year-old woman who spent decades in a safe but lackluster job. When the opportunity arose to start her own business, the fear was overwhelming. She realized it wasn't fear of failure, but fear of discovering how capable she was. According to Louise Hay, we resist our own power because it asks us to leave behind old versions of ourselves. The unknown frightens because it demands that you trust something greater than your past experiences. The liberating truth is that you don't need to eliminate fear to move forward. You can feel fear and still choose to take the next step. I am courageous even when I feel afraid. This affirmation acknowledges that courage isn't the absence of fear, but action despite it. Louise Hay often spoke about how our fears are frequently based on old memories and thought patterns that no longer serve our present self. When you begin to question where this fear comes from, you often discover it belongs to a younger version of you, who didn't have the resources you have now. The fear of the unknown also carries a message about what you truly value. If you didn't care deeply about the outcome, there would be no fear. Fear reveals your most authentic desires. When Emily felt dread considering moving to a new city, she realized the fear came from how much she desired to build a life that was truly hers. The discomfort was proportional to her longing for freedom and authenticity. According to Louise Hay, when we honor our feelings without judgment, they begin to guide us instead of paralyzing us. Fear becomes a map pointing to where your soul wants to grow. So, the next time fear appears, pause and thank it. Thank it for showing that you're alive, that you care, that you're about to expand beyond the limits you knew. I thank my fear for showing me the path to my greatness. The unknown isn't your enemy. It's the sacred territory where you discover who you truly are. Louise Hay reminded us that every moment of discomfort is an opportunity to choose love instead of fear, trust instead of control. And when you make that choice, something magical happens. The path begins to reveal itself, one step at a time, and you realize you always had within you everything you needed for this journey. The illusion of preparation. There's a deeply rooted belief in many of us that we need to have everything planned before we begin. You wait for the perfect moment, the complete plan, the guarantee that everything will work out. But here's a liberating truth. No one who has ever created something significant had all the answers at the beginning. Louise Hay didn't know she would become one of the most influential voices in the self-help movement when she started facilitating small groups in her living room. She simply took the first step with what she had, and the path revealed itself as she walked. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes during action. When you wait for absolute certainty, you're actually waiting for something that will never arrive. Perfectionism is often a disguised form of fear. You tell yourself you need more information, more preparation, more time, but what you're really saying is that you're afraid of not being good enough. According to Louise Hay, that critical inner voice that demands perfection before movement is just an old pattern trying to keep you safe and small. Think of Michael, who spent 3 years researching how to write a book but never wrote a single page. He was trapped in the illusion that he needed to know everything before starting. When he finally allowed himself to write badly, to write imperfectly, he discovered the story was inside him all along, waiting to be released. I trust life's process and take my next step with faith. This affirmation recognizes that life is an unfolding, not a fixed destination. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You only need to take the first step. Louise Hay taught us that the universe responds to action, not intention. When you move, even if it's a small and imperfect movement, you send a powerful message to the universe that you're ready to receive. You open doors you didn't even know existed. Opportunities appear. The right people cross your path. Insights arise exactly when you need them. The truth is that the path creates itself as you walk. It's like driving at night with your headlights on. You can't see the entire road, but you can see enough to keep moving forward. Each step you take illuminates the next. Jennifer wanted to change careers but felt she needed a 5-year plan before making any move. When she finally allowed herself to just explore, take a course, talk to people in the field, things began to align in ways she never could have planned. According to Louise Hay, when we release the need to control every detail, we create space for magic to happen. The universe has an intelligence far greater than our limited plans. So, ask yourself, what's the smallest step you can take today? Not the perfect step, not the step that solves everything, but simply the next possible step. Maybe it's a conversation, research, a phone call, a small but significant decision. I am capable of beginning exactly where I am. You don't need all the answers. You only need enough courage to start. And as you move forward, something remarkable happens. You discover you had more strength, more wisdom, more resources than you imagined. The act of beginning is itself transformative, and each step you take builds confidence for the next. If you're enjoying this, let's continue our journey together. Before we move to the next transformative insight, I want to invite you to be part of this community of courageous hearts. If this content is touching your soul, click subscribe and turn on the bell to receive more tools for self-love and transformation. And tell me in the comments which phrase resonated most with you so far. Your voice matters here. Now, let's explore something even deeper. When letting go is power, have you noticed how much effort you spend trying to control every aspect of your life? There's a deep exhaustion that comes from trying to hold all the pieces in place, from trying to predict every outcome, from trying to ensure nothing goes wrong. But here's something that can change everything. Control is an illusion, and the more you try to grasp, the more life slips through your fingers. Louise Hay taught us that letting go of control isn't giving up. It's actually trusting something much greater. It's trusting that you have the capacity to handle whatever shows up. It's trusting that the universe is working in your favor, even when you can't see the complete picture. Letting go is an act of deep faith in yourself and in life's intelligence. Control is born from fear. When you feel you need to control everything, what you're really saying is, I don't trust I'll be okay if things don't go my way. Think of Rachel, who planned every detail of her vacation, every minute of the day, every meal. When a storm canceled her plans, she panicked. But then something unexpected happened. She discovered a small local cafe, met incredible people, had conversations that changed her perspective. What she thought was a disaster became the most memorable moment of the trip. According to Louise Hay, when we open ourselves to life's flow, instead of resisting it, we discover there's a wisdom operating that's much greater than our limited plans. I release control and trust life's natural flow. This affirmation is powerful because it recognizes you don't need all the answers or to control all outcomes to be safe. You're safe because you're resilient, adaptable, and capable. Louise Hay often spoke about how our true power doesn't come from controlling external circumstances, but from trusting our internal capacity to navigate any situation. When you release the need to control, you free an enormous amount of energy that was being wasted on worry and tension. That energy can then be directed toward creativity, joy, and genuine growth. Letting go of control also means accepting that some things simply aren't yours to control. You can't control what other people think of you, how they react, what choices they make. You can't control the universe's timing or how things unfold. David spent years trying to make his family understand his life choices, trying to control their perception of him. When he finally released that need, when he accepted he could only control his own actions and reactions, a deep peace took over. According to Louise Hay, when we stop trying to change others and focus on our own journey, paradoxically, our relationships often improve. People feel the difference when you're no longer trying to control them. So, where are you holding on too tightly? What area of your life is asking you to let go and trust? I trust myself to handle whatever life brings. Letting go doesn't mean being passive. It means being flexible, open, receptive. It means dancing with life instead of fighting against it. Louise Hay reminded us that when we release control, we create space for miracles. We create space for solutions we never could have imagined to appear. And we discover there's a force within us that's far more powerful than any illusion of control. The force of trust, adaptability, deep faith in our own capacity to thrive, no matter what happens. Rewriting the script you carry within you, narratives about who you are and what's possible for you. These stories were written long ago, often in childhood, by voices that weren't even yours. Perhaps someone said you weren't creative enough, smart enough, brave enough, and you believed it. You transformed those opinions into absolute truths about yourself. But here's the liberating revelation. These limiting beliefs aren't facts. They're just stories, and every story can be rewritten. Louise Hay dedicated her life to showing us that our thoughts create our reality, and when we change our thoughts, we change our life. You're not stuck with the limitations you accepted in the past. You have the power to choose new beliefs now. These limiting beliefs function as invisible filters through which you see the world. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll find evidence of that everywhere. You'll interpret silence as rejection, a challenge as proof of your inadequacy, an opportunity as something that's not for you. Think of Lisa, who grew up hearing that women in her family weren't good with money. She carried that belief for decades, unconsciously sabotaging every attempt at financial prosperity. When she finally questioned that narrative, when she asked, "Is this really true?" Or is it just a story I inherited? Everything began to change. According to Louise Hay, our beliefs are just thoughts we think repeatedly, and we can choose new thoughts at any moment. I release all old beliefs that no longer serve me and embrace new truths about myself. This affirmation is an act of personal revolution. You're declaring you're no longer hostage to old patterns. Louise Hay taught us that the first step to changing a limiting belief is simply to recognize it, bring it into the light, look at it and ask, where did this come from? Is this really mine? Or did I absorb it from someone else? Often you'll discover you're living according to rules you didn't even consciously choose. And once you see that clearly, you can begin to choose differently. Rewriting these stories doesn't happen overnight, but it happens with consistency and compassion. Every time you catch yourself thinking, I can't, you can gently replace it with, I'm learning or I'm capable of growing. When Mark realized he always said, I'm not a morning person, he decided to test that belief. He started waking up earlier, not because he had to be perfect, but because he wanted to see if that story was true. To his surprise, he discovered he loved mornings when he gave himself the chance to experience them differently. According to Louise Hay, our words have creative power, and when we change our internal language, we change our life experience. Each positive affirmation is a seed planted in fertile soil. So, what old story are you ready to release? What limiting belief is asking to be questioned and transformed? I deserve to rewrite my story with love and infinite possibilities. You don't need to carry the weight of narratives that don't reflect who you truly are. Louise Hay showed us we're the authors of our own lives, and at any moment we can pick up the pen and begin a new chapter. A chapter where you're capable, deserving, powerful, and free. And as you rewrite these internal stories, something extraordinary happens. The external world begins to reflect these new truths back to you. The invisible conspiracy, there's an intelligence operating in the universe that's much greater than you can comprehend with the logical mind. When you close yourself into a single vision of how things should be, you block the flow of infinite possibilities trying to reach you. Louise Hay taught us that the universe is always responding to our energy, our beliefs, our openness. When you open yourself to new possibilities, when you release the need for things to happen in a specific way, you allow magic to enter. You allow solutions you never imagined to appear. You allow paths you didn't even know existed to reveal themselves. Life wants to support you, but you need to be open to receiving that support in ways that may be different from what you planned. Often you pray, ask, wish for something, but then close the door to how it can reach you. You say, I want a new job, but only look in one specific sector. You say, I want love, but only look at one specific type of person. You limit the universe with your narrow expectations. Think of Amanda, who was desperate for a career change. She had a very specific vision of what that should look like. When a completely different opportunity appeared, something she never would have considered, she almost said no, but something made her pause and say yes. That unexpected opportunity led her exactly where her soul wanted to go, just by a path she never would have planned. According to Louise Hay, when we say this or something better to the universe, we open space for miracles our limited mind couldn't have conceived. I am open to receiving good in unexpected and wonderful ways. This affirmation is a declaration of receptivity. You're telling the universe, I trust, I'm ready. I don't need to control how blessings arrive. Louise Hay often spoke about how the universe has a sense of perfect timing and a wisdom that goes beyond our understanding. What seems like a detour may actually be a shortcut. What seems like a closing door may be protection. What seems like a delay may be perfect alignment. When you trust this greater process, you relax into the journey instead of fighting against it. Opening yourself to new possibilities also means being willing to see things differently. It means questioning your assumptions about how life works. James always believed success meant working 80 hours a week. When an illness forced him to slow down, he resisted with everything. But then he began to notice his creativity flourished in the empty space. His best ideas came during walks, not during meetings. He discovered a new possibility, that success could include balance, joy, and ease. According to Louise Hay, when we release our rigid ideas about how things should be, the universe can surprise us with something much better. Life is constantly offering new paths. You just need to be willing to see them. So, where are you closing doors without realizing it? Where are you saying it can only be this way when you could be saying, show me the way? I trust the universe is guiding me to my highest good. When you open yourself to possibilities, you become a co-creator with life instead of a fighter against it. Louise Hay reminded us, we're not alone on this journey. There's a benevolent force that wants to see us prosper, grow, and shine. And when we align our energy with that force through openness, trust, and receptivity, the impossible becomes possible. Doors open where before there were only walls, and you realize the universe was conspiring in your favor all along. The hidden muscle, every time you choose courage over comfort, something profound happens within you. You're not just making an external decision, you're strengthening your connection with who you truly are. Louise Hay taught us that living authentically is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Each courageous choice is an act of honoring your truth, even when it's scary, even when no one understands, even when it would be easier to follow the path others expect of you. And every time you do this, you send a powerful message to your soul. I see you, I hear you, I honor you. This is the foundation of genuine self-love. It's not about being perfect, it's about being true. Courage isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's simply saying no when you want to say no. It's setting a boundary when it would be easier to give in. It's choosing the path that resonates with your heart even when your mind is screaming all the reasons why you should play it safe. Think of Sophie, who always said yes to everyone, fearing disappointing people. When she finally said no to a commitment that drained her energy, she felt fear and guilt. But underneath those feelings, there was something more, a sense of integrity, of alignment, of finally honoring herself. According to Louise Hay, each small act of authenticity builds your self-esteem in a way no external validation ever could. You begin to trust yourself because you're proving, through your actions, that you matter. I choose to honor my truth with courage and love. This affirmation recognizes that being authentic is an act of love, not selfishness. When you live according to your truth, you become more present, more vibrant, more capable of genuinely contributing to the world. Louise Hay often spoke about how we can't give from emptiness. When we betray ourselves repeatedly to please others, we become resentful, exhausted, and disconnected. But when we make courageous choices aligned with our authentic self, we fill ourselves with vital energy. We become beacons of possibility for others who are also struggling to live authentically. Each courageous choice also teaches you something about your own strength. You discover you can handle the discomfort of disappointing someone. You discover you can survive judgment. You discover you can trust your own internal compass, even when everyone around you is pointing in a different direction. Thomas always followed the path his family expected of him. When he finally chose a career he loved but they didn't understand, it was terrifying. But each day, he lived his truth. He felt more alive, more himself. According to Louise Hay, when we align with our authenticity, we attract people and circumstances that resonate with who we truly are. Life begins to flow more easily because we're no longer swimming against the current of our own nature. So, where are you being called to make a courageous choice? Where is your soul asking to be heard and honored? I am courageous enough to be who I truly am. You don't need to change everything at once. Each small, authentic choice is a victory. Every time you choose your truth, you strengthen the muscle of courage. Louise Hay reminded us that the most important relationship you'll have in life is the relationship with yourself. And that relationship is built through these courageous choices, day after day, moment after moment. As you strengthen this connection with your authentic self, something wonderful happens. You stop seeking approval outside and begin to find a deep peace within. Soon, I'm going to guide you through a powerful practical exercise that will help you embody everything we're exploring together. Stay with me for this transformative experience. Dormant treasures. You'll never discover how capable you are by staying in the comfort zone. It's in the journey through the unknown, when you're challenged in ways you never imagined, that your deepest internal resources emerge. Louise Hay taught us that within each of us exists a wisdom, a strength, a resilience that goes far beyond what the conscious mind knows. But these resources remain dormant until they're called to action. It's like a muscle you didn't know you had until you needed to use it. When you venture into the unknown, when you face situations that test your limits, you discover capabilities that were waiting silently within you all along. You discover you're more creative, more adaptable, stronger than you ever imagined. The unknown functions as a mirror that reflects back to you your own greatness. When everything is familiar and predictable, you operate on autopilot, using only a fraction of your potential. But when you're placed in new territory, when there's no instruction manual or clear path, something within you awakens. Think of Maria, who always considered herself shy and dependent. When circumstances forced her to travel alone to a country where she didn't speak the language, she was terrified. But day after day, she found ways to communicate, to navigate, to solve problems. She discovered a courage and resourcefulness she never knew she possessed. According to Louise Hay, we often underestimate ourselves because we identify with our past limitations instead of our present potential. The unknown invites us to release those old identities and discover who we truly are. I trust the infinite resources within me. This affirmation is a recognition that you're much more than you think you are. Louise Hay often spoke about the wisdom of the body, the intuition of the soul, the creativity of the spirit. When you trust these internal resources, when you allow yourself not to know and still move forward, you access an intelligence that goes beyond rational thinking. You begin to trust your instincts, your feelings, your capacity to improvise and adapt. And every time you do this successfully, your confidence grows. You build a track record of evidence that you can handle the unexpected. The journey into the unknown also reveals emotional resources you didn't know you had. You discover you can feel fear and still continue. You discover you can handle uncertainty without collapsing. You discover you can recover from disappointments faster than you imagined. Daniel lost his job unexpectedly and felt his world was crumbling. But as he navigated this transition, he discovered an emotional resilience that surprised him. He learned to calm himself, to encourage himself, to find hope, even in the darkest moments. According to Louise Hay, each challenge is an opportunity to develop emotional and spiritual muscles. The unknown isn't here to break you. It's here to reveal how unbreakable you are. So, what resources are waiting to be discovered within you? What dormant capacities are ready to awaken? I am more capable than I can imagine. The unknown isn't a place of lack. It's a place of discovery. Louise Hay reminded us we're infinite beings with unlimited potential, and every time you venture beyond the familiar, every time you choose to grow instead of stagnate, you come closer to that truth. You discover layers of strength, wisdom, and creativity that were waiting for you all along, and that discovery transforms not just what you do, but who you know you are. You're a revolutionary act when you choose to create your own path instead of following what others expect of you. You're making a powerful statement. I love myself enough to honor my unique journey. Louise Hay taught us that self-love isn't selfishness. It's the foundation of an authentic and fulfilling life. Creating your own path is recognizing that your life belongs to you, that your choices matter, that your dreams are valid even when no one else understands them. It's a radical act of self-respect in a world that constantly tries to mold you into something you're not. And when you do this, when you choose your own path with love and intention, you're not just changing your life, you're giving permission for others to do the same. Following someone else's path may seem safer, but it comes with an invisible cost: the loss of yourself. Every time you choose what's expected instead of what's true for you, a part of your soul dims a little. You may succeed by external standards but feel an internal emptiness that nothing seems to fill. Think of Rebecca, who followed the path her parents laid out for her: prestigious college, corporate career, conventional marriage. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Inside, she felt like a stranger in her own life. When she finally had the courage to create her own path, to choose what truly resonated with her soul, she felt like she was breathing for the first time. According to Louise Hay, when we betray ourselves to please others, we create a pattern of disconnection that affects all areas of our life. But when we honor ourselves, we create a pattern of integrity that radiates outward. I love myself enough to create a life that's truly mine. This affirmation is revolutionary because it places you at the center of your own story, not as selfishness, but as loving responsibility. Louise Hay often spoke about how we can't blame others for our choices. When you take responsibility for creating your own path, you also claim your power. You stop being a victim of others' expectations and become the architect of your own destiny. And yes, this may mean disappointing some people. It may mean facing criticism or misunderstanding. But the price of living someone else's life is always greater than the temporary discomfort of claiming your own. Creating your own path also means trusting your own definition of success. You don't need to achieve the milestones society says matter. You don't need to follow someone else's timeline. You can define what prosperity, happiness, and fulfillment mean for you. Nathan spent years pursuing a version of success that never satisfied him. When he stopped and asked himself what he truly wanted, the answer surprised him: time, connection, creativity, simplicity. He created a path that seemed strange to others but filled him deeply. According to Louise Hay, when we align our lives with our authentic values instead of borrowed values, we find a peace and joy that no external achievement can provide. You begin to measure success by how you feel inside, not by how it looks outside. So, what path is your heart asking you to create? What life is waiting to be lived through you? I deserve a life that reflects my deepest truth. Creating your own path isn't always easy, but it's always worthwhile. Louise Hay reminded us we're the only ones who can live our lives. No one else can do it for us. And when we finally take that responsibility with love, when we choose to forge our own path through the unknown, something magical happens. we discover the path we were looking for was within us all along, waiting to be revealed, one courageous step at a time. The transformative ritual. Now that we've explored these transformative insights together, I want to invite you to a powerful practice that Louise Hay used and taught: mirror work. This exercise will help you embody everything we've discussed and strengthen your connection with the courage that already exists within you. How to do it? Find a quiet moment, preferably in the morning or before bed. Stand in front of a mirror, looking directly into your own eyes. At first, this may feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. Take a few deep breaths, placing one hand on your heart, feeling your own presence. Now, looking into your eyes with gentleness and compassion, say out loud, "I love and approve of you exactly as you are." You are courageous enough to create your own path. Repeat this 3 times, allowing the words to penetrate deeply. Notice what arises: resistance, emotion, discomfort, or perhaps a sense of relief. Everything is welcome. Next, still looking in the mirror, complete this sentence out loud: "I am ready to embrace the unknown," and mention a specific area of your life where you're being called to take a courageous step. It could be your career, a relationship, a change you've been postponing, or a dream you're afraid to pursue. Finish by placing both hands on your heart and saying, "I trust myself. I have everything I need within me. I am worthy of creating a life that's truly mine." Practice this ritual daily for 21 days. Louise Hay believes 21 days is the time needed to begin creating a new thought pattern. Write in a journal how you feel after each practice. Notice the subtle changes in your confidence, in your choices, in how you relate to yourself. Remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about presence, honesty, and love. Some days will be easier than others, and that's part of the journey. What matters is continuing to show up for yourself day after day, building this bridge of love and trust with your most authentic self. Your journey begins, dear one. You made it here, and that in itself is an act of courage. Absorbing these insights, questioning old patterns, considering new possibilities, all of this requires an openness of heart that deserves to be celebrated. Remember that forging your own path isn't a journey you complete in one day. It's a loving commitment you make to yourself, renewed with each choice, each breath, each moment when you choose your truth instead of the comfort of conformity. Louise Hay showed us that transformation happens gently, with patience and compassion. So be gentle with yourself as you navigate the unknown. Trust that each step, even the trembling ones, is taking you closer to who you truly are. You have within you everything you need for this journey. The unknown isn't your enemy. It's the sacred territory where you become. And I believe in you. I believe in your courage, in your wisdom, in your capacity to create a life that's truly yours. Go with love, go with faith, and know you're never alone on this path.